Annyeong, everyone, and a great Samsung morning to all. Thank you for joining our first KPP webinar of the year. Oh, I see a good mix of new and familiar names among the attendees. I am Sarah Alvaro, Regional TAM for Southeast Asia and Oceania region at Samsung Research, and with my colleague Shivam Srivastava, Chief Engineer at Samsung Research Bangalore, we'll be introducing everyone to the latest Knox 3.8 and Android 12 changes today. I trust everyone is in good spirits and are as excited as we are about today's session. All right, let's begin. So for this first item, we have the Knox 3.8 SDK overview. Samsung Knox SDK version 3.8 was released on November 15, 2021 for the Android 12 operating system. This release improves upon Knox 3.7.1 and introduces new features for customers, such as the Advanced Access Control, Peripheral SDK for Knox 3.8, Deep Settings Customization Enhancements, Enhanced Attestation Improvements, Knox SDK for ISVS, Advanced Separated Apps. And apart from these features, this release includes API enhancements and bug fixes, along with Android 12 changes such as the TIMA CCM keystore deprecation. My colleague Shivam and I will be discussing more about these topics in the next slides, so please stay tuned and type in your questions as we go along. First off, we have the Knox SDK for independent software vendors. So initially introduced in the Knox 3.7.1 version to deal with Google's DA deprecation and to break into the frontline market at the same time. KPE has started providing ISV dedicated features with previous SDKs, and now we need to expand its coverage of device configuration and management functionality. To use these ISV APIs, an app does not need the following. 1. Device admin permission. As Google deprecated the device AD for device management, apps can continue to use the permission, but Google no longer recommends it. An ISV app needs only the permissions for features it uses. Second, it doesn't need a Knox license. Corporate managed devices don't need to activate a Knox license to use the new ISV APIs. More specifically, license activation is not needed for the device owner or profile owner on a company-owned device. License activation is still needed for BYOD deployments, though. And the third item for network connection, since ISV apps on corporate devices no longer need a license, there's no need to validate the license with a cloud-based or on-prem license servers, making the ISV app suitable for offline deployments. Okay. Next up, we have the Peripheral SDK for Knox 3.8. So through this SDK, you can configure and manage both mobile devices and connected peripherals at the same time, easing development, testing, deployment, and later updates. In addition to managing the mobile devices, you can use the Samsung Knox SDK to manage peripherals that are connected to or integrated with devices. Specifically, you can remotely and centrally automate the setup, monitoring, diagnostics, and control of peripherals in distributed locations. This provides application developers to develop applications that can be linked with partners' barcode scanners through Knox SDK. Through peripherals such as barcode readers, you can also collect business and operational data for wide-ranging applications in sectors such as manufacturing, inventory, transportation, and retail. For Knox 3.8, the SDK supports the QAM-TAC USB scanner and BT-Stack scanner as the first accessory partners. In order to support BT scanners, the APIs listed below are needed. For the complete documentation on available peripheral features, you may refer to the peripheral section of the Knox SDK for ISVs, which can be found at samsungknox.com. Next up, we have API enhancements for Knox 3.8. So here we want to highlight three specific changes to come to some commonly used APIs in Knox 3.8 SDK. First, we have disallow lock screen bug fix. So previously, there was no option to disable the face widget menu from the lock screen customization settings menu. From Knox 3.8, the lock screen customization settings to disallow all widgets on the lock screen, including the face widget menu, has been added. Next, we have the minimum required security in Wi-Fi type to help IT admins set Wi-Fi security level. Recently, the Wi-Fi Protected Access 3 or WPA3 type was introduced, and Samsung devices also supported them. Based on the barcode requirement, this API will support WPA3 algorithm. However, we are deprecating all Wi-Fi APIs in an Android OS, so this feature will be supported by KC only and not API type. The third one is about hiding the settings from Power Dialog. So while Proteus mode is enabled, the end user must not exit Proteus mode without IT admin's approvals. But the side key settings menu is added on the Power Dialog screen, and the end users can move to device settings menu through this. It was a security hole, so we made a patch in Knox 3.8. Once Proteus mode is started, the side key settings menu will be automatically disabled from the Power Dialog. Right? Next up, we have the separated apps version 2 or advanced separated apps. So from Android 12, we replaced the fully managed device with work profile with a new work profile on company-owned devices. The goal is to protect the privacy of personal activities on company devices and provide IT admins with adequate control over the personal side of the device. For enterprises that still need the full control over a device while enabling authorized third-party business applications, Samsung exclusively offers an additional option called separated apps. These separated apps isolate third-party applications in a sandbox folder. The third-party apps cannot intercommunicate with work apps or access confidential work data. Keep in mind, though, that the separated apps does not provide the same privacy guarantees as the new work profile on company-owned devices. As such, this is not intended for personal apps and data. The advanced separated apps or separated apps V2 features include improved UX, use of biometric authentication, remote control by IT admin, and access control to network connections. Who is this for? Okay. Enterprises that provide corporate-owned personally enabled devices typically need to separate official work apps from third-party business apps installed by employees. So those are who it's intended for, right? To those anticipating Shivam's appearance, well, rejoice. I'll be turning over the floor to him now from the next slide. I'll see you in a bit for the Knox service plugin roadmap. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you for calling me on virtual stage, and a very good morning from India to all of you. I hope you are enjoying the session till now with the excellent performance of Sarah. Now I will take you through for some important updates which is related to Knox 3.8 and some specifically to Android 12 framework. So first one is AAC, which is an acronym for those who don't know. It's Advanced Access Control, and which gives a cognitive security over standard security provided by the Knox platform for enterprise. So what do we mean by the cognitive security, and how does it do that, and why it is necessary? Well, let's discuss. So in the current scenario, there is a good jump in number when we talk about the users of mobile network environment, because people like to be more prompt at their work, but they want to work from anywhere and wherever they go. So that's why they use containers. More specifically, in Android enterprise terminology, we call it work profile. And in Samsung terminology, or you can say in Knox terminology, we call it Knox workspace, because it keeps your business application like email access to your enterprise email server, etc. And the content produced or consumed by these apps separately, which is untouched from the application or from the events that happens over the personal side of device. And it has been secured. So how a middle person or some other person who want to access your business application and data to read some confidential information, how they can read it? So definitely there are only few ways. Either they know the password of your work profile, or you have left the device unattended over desk or somewhere else, right? So yeah, enough security. But what if your device is in a situation what I have described? Maybe you have left the device unattended, or maybe the third person know your password or hack the password. So that's where advanced access control comes into picture and secure a business application and data which rest in uh, work profile or workspace. So how does it do that? In previous version of Knox AAC, it protects the work profile with face detection. Suppose I left my device unattended and somebody else tried to use my device work profile. My front camera will detect, oh, this is not Shivam, and it will log the work profile, which periodically triggers the face authentication with device of front camera and report the result to the Knox framework system. In Knox 3.8, we have gone one step ahead and brought in a new feature, and we call it touch dynamic factor. This factor analyzes the digital signature generated when a human interacts with a device, commonly known as the keystrokes or typing pattern. So it reads your typing pattern, it reads your keystroke, and based on that, it takes a decision whether I have to log the work profile or workspace or not. And this parameter has been used to verify that whether the user, the primary user typing on the device, is the authorized primary user of the device. In case where the user is determined not to be authorized user, the work profile on device is locked and access to the sensitive data is immediately revoked. So that's how AAC, being a cognitive security feature, protects your business data and applications. Sarah, can we go to next?
Sure.
Thank you. So as Sarah has said in one liner that there are so many changes in Android 12, and one of our APIs related to TIMA, which is a trust zone based integrity measurement architecture, keystore, and a client certificate manager. These API has been deprecated. Why? Because from Android 12, Google has introduced keystore 2 and mandated that all application will use keystore 2 from Android 12. And that is why we are deprecating the TIMA and CCM keystore API. If your application has been using these API or integrated these API, please visit the given link to make the mandatory changes. Can we go to next, sir? Yeah, favorite. So dual, sorry. So dual DAR, dual data at rest, dual encryption. There are some changes with dual DAR happened for S22. So dual encryption, what is dual encryption? Dual encryption allow any enterprise to ensure their work data is secured with 2 layers of encryption, even when the device is in a powered off or unauthenticated state. So a Samsung Knox dual DR solution provides 2 separate layers of encryption and key generation. All data placed inside the workspace is dually encrypted by both the layers. So the outer layer of dual DR solution is built in the top of FBE, the file-based encryption. And then over that, it is enhanced by Samsung to meet the mobile device fundamental protection profile requirements. Though the inner layer of encryption is based on a framework that will allow an independent third party to install a separate cryptography module. So inner layer can be used by the third parties. They can install their own cryptographic module to encrypt the data. But if you don't do that, we have taken care of it, and we encrypt that inner layer, which is secured by the FIPS 142 certified cryptography module, which is included by the Samsung Knox framework. So till now, so the update is, till now, dual DR was used only with work profile. But with Knox 3.8, it can be done over fully managed devices too, to encrypt all your user data and app data. So that's the change. Previously, it is being used only with work profile. Now it can be used for fully managed devices. I hope it's clear. Sarah, can we go to next?
Sure.
This update, there's so many lines are written, but don't worry. It's very simple to understand. Currently, the setup wizard, the SUW stands for setup wizard when you set up the device in Android Enterprise. So currently, the setup wizard SUW for Android Enterprise recommended device includes option that allow device user to give consent to collect the marketing and other data. Right? So the collection of these items is not recommended or appropriate for managed devices because these are the corporate devices. To close this gap, the SUW, the setup wizard, should be changed to disallow data collection. And to implement these changes, the SUW now includes options that allow the user to consent to data collection, but in case of managed devices, which means end user can still give the consent, but if the device is a managed device, data collection will be automatically disabled for that device. But don't worry, even if you still want to give the consent, you can go in setting and change the settings. So just some scenarios. So suppose if you user agree to both sending of diagnostic data and receipt of marketing information during SUW, then both of these options are disabled automatically as the process goes on, and user will be greeted with a message that your agreement to sending the diagnostic data and receipt of marketing information has withdrawn by policy. So during the setting of device, no user can give consent to these kind of parameters like sending of diagnostic data and receipt of marketing information. That was the update. Sarah, can we go to next?
Right.
Yeah, important update. So now it is related to Android framework directly, and Knox 3.0 is based on Android 12 operating system. So the following changes are there. So previously, for password policy modification, you have to put several parameters, maybe 4 or 5 parameters, how many alphanumeric, how many numeric, and all those. But now Google has changed into a bucket. So bucket is distributed in high complexity, medium complexity, and low complexity. So if necessary, IT admin can still set the restricted password requirement on the work profile. And this will help people to, or this will help to reduce the risk of user forgetting their password. So for example, in the low password complexity band, you can use pattern and pin with repeating maybe numbers like 4444, you can use it, or ordered number like 1234, 4321, 2468. So if your IT admin has set low password bucket complexity band, then you can set this password. But if your IT admin has set the medium password complexity band, then you cannot set it because it will not accept the ordering number or the repeating number. So you can use any different numbers or alphabetical with at least 4 characters or alphanumeric with at least 4 characters. And this complexity has been improved with the high complexity band and so on. But work profile security challenge onboarding has been streamlined. And setup now takes into account whenever device passcode meets admin requirement and makes it easy for the user to choose whether to increase the strength of the device passcode or use the work profile security challenge. Second one is a sensor permission restriction. So as you know, Android Enterprise supports a feature where you can silently grant the permission asked by any app. But moving forward from Android 12, you cannot silently grant the given permission like location permission, camera, microphone, body sensor, and physical activities. These permission cannot be granted silently. The application has to take consent from the end user. Sarah, can you go to next?
Sure.
Thank you. So there are some enhancement in network logging delegation. So previously, IT admin were able to set or retrieve work profile network logging, but now they can also delegate these kind of capability to another application which sits inside the work profile. So a work profile can delegate this work to another application which sits inside work profile. So that's the new feature. But IT admin still cannot use network logging to monitor traffic in the personal profile to maintain the privacy. And fourth one is the managed device control enhancements. So if an IT admin wants, he can disable the USB except for charging function on company or devices. And this also includes a capability to check whether this feature is supported over device or not, or enabled or not. And also there's one more feature where company or devices with a work profile can limit the input method used in the personal profile to allow only system input method. So a work profile agent, a PO agent, can limit the input method used in the personal profile too. So that in personal side, only system input methods will be used. So that's it from my side. And thank you so much for hearing me. And now I would like to call Sarah again. Sarah, it's all yours.
Hi,
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So thank you, everyone. And now we're going to present to you the Knox Service plugin roadmap for 2022. So for the KSP roadmap of 2022, we'll kick things off in the first quarter with the release of Bluetooth scanner support for Knox 3.8, the EMM provided device configuration part 1 enhancement, and the Knox SDK deprecation part 1. So for this one, don't worry if you see part 1 or part 2 because we won't leave you hanging for the next update. We'll release the other half of the EMM provided device configuration and the Knox SDK deprecation in the second quarter of the year. All right. So for the third quarter, please expect the release of the OEM config improvement. And for the final update of the year, we'll be releasing the new Knox SDK 3.9 in the fourth quarter of 2022. More information on these new features will be added on each release note. So please stay tuned and check your email notifications from samsungknox.com. All right, we're done with the changes and updates for this session. So after this, we'll be moving on to the question and answer portion, if there are any, and then where the answer is always world peace. Before that, Shivam, can you join me back again, please, for the Q&A part? Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So I can read one question for Sarah. Does customization SDK still require license activation?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Our team of superheroes has been taking notes of the questions you have submitted earlier, and we'll try to get through everything one by one. So as Shivam mentioned, the first question is about license activation for the customization APIs. So the answer to this is for the Knox SDK for ISVs, they do not require licenses. But we have other SDKs and APIs in samsungknox.com, which may require the partners to purchase a license. So for the comprehensive list and API features, you can visit the site and check out the Knox SDK for ISPs. If you do not find the API or specific feature that you are trying to modify or enhance, then please look into the other SDKs available on site, which may or may not be requiring a paid license in order for you to use. So if you have any questions about the Knox licensing and such, we can take it offline and you can send us an email afterwards. We'll be displaying the contact details after this Q&A portion. Alrighty. So
Question
is there
2.
another question, Shivam?
Yeah, there are questions. So this question is for me, but there is still user interaction required for SUW. So yes, the option will be available for end user. But if the device is getting set up as a managed device, user will not be able to check it, as I have described earlier. Third question, again for me, are there other permissions that can still be silently granted? So you need to understand in that way, okay, this is a corporate device, but you cannot play with the privacy of the end user. So wherever he or she is going, whatever he sees is speaking, that's why the microphone is blocked and the location not blocked out of this silent permission list. That's why the GPS is or location is out of this silent permission list, health activity, health data. But all other things like storage permission, Wi-Fi permission, Bluetooth permission, and other kind of permission still can be silently granted by the Android IT admin configuration. I hope I answered the question. And another one, I think Pyle can answer. Will the slide be made available? And if so, how?
I'll take this one. For the slides, this won't be available offline, but we will be releasing the recording of this webinar in samsungnox.com at the partner.samsungnox.com site. So for this one, you can review the webinar from our website. I think after the recording, we'll be trying to upload this and get the approval for you to view it, maybe today or tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah, the another question is, what is Knox SDK deprecation part 1 or part 2? I think in the deprecation part, we have introduced TIMA and CCM keystore application. And then we have described about the changes in Android 12 and some changes in Knox and a couple of enhancements like AAC enhancement and other enhancement we have discussed. So only TIMA and CCM keystore has been deprecated from the entire thing that we have discussed, and some other which Sarah has described.
Okay, Shivam, we have 6th question. Is there any change for VPN related functionality?
Not specifically to Knox 3.8 or Android 12. So if you have been implementing or integrating VPN till Android 11, you can continue to use it in Android 12 too or Knox SDK 3.8.
And then we have 7th question here.
How do we check which version of Knox used in a device?
So for this one, it's actually quite easy. So you just go to settings, click on the about phone, and then click on the software information. From there, you can see what is the specific Knox version of the device.
And for your application to read it automatically while programming, I think there's an API available. Please correct me whether I'm right or wrong. Pyle?
Yes, there's.
Yes, so there are
There
Pyle
is,
confirmed
Shivam.
it. There's API through which your application can read the Knox version. Yes, Sarah.
I think that's about it. There are no more questions coming in.
Yeah. So you still can drop your question to our mails or in this chat, and we will
Oh, there's a
How
myth
do we deploy,
there.
how do we deploy dual DER for DO and S22? Okay, I have noted down this question, and maybe Payal can, we will share the entire details with everyone over mail. How you can deploy the dual DER for DO and S22. We will share the steps and the other guys too related to that. So let's wait for 2 more minutes. And
Sure.
as I said, if you have any question, you can send it over mail to Sarah, Payal, Sneha, or to me, and we will try to get it answered as soon as possible.
Yeah, in the meantime, as we wind down the webinar, here are the contact details as promised earlier. So for any queries, please reach out to us through the following R&D centers. We have SWA RTAM, SRPH RTAM, Syrian RTAM, and SRCB RTAM. So these specific R&D centers are from India, Philippines, China, and we also have Indonesia. So those four R&D centers cover specifically the Asia Pacific region for KPI. And then you can also send your queries directly if you know these people. So Budianto, he's from Srin, Indonesia. So you may send him an email at budi.yanto@samsung.com. Then for Samsung Research Bangalore, we have Muniraja Gorepati, Payal Agarwal, and Shivam Srivastava. So their email addresses are also on display. And from SRPH, you may send your queries to Paulo Roque and to myself. So for Pau and I, we're covering the Southeast Asia and Oceania region. Then from the rest of the Western and Central part of Asia, India team is covering it. And then Budianto's team is covering the landlocked part of Southeast Asia. And we have the China team for the KC or other localized version of Knox. I see a link. Is this the question? samsungnox.com/supported devices contains the version used details, but for M20, it's not applicable. But in my M20, still Knox is installed in it. But is this a question or just a statement?
It's a question.
All right, is
So
it?
as
Okay.
per our audience, M22 is NA at this page, but still he or she is able to use Knox installed in M20. There's a very lame answer, though we say that NA is available, NA for M20 over this page, but unofficially there are some APIs are enabled at M20 and M20 platform. That's why you are able to use some of the Knox feature over M20, but we do not officially support it. Yeah, I have a Galaxy A21. Okay, I have a Galaxy A21 and want to write a Hello World program using Knox. Where can I get a simple Hello World program? Okay, so there are several links where we have provided the sample app. There you can read about Knox SDK and its capabilities, and you can also download some sample projects, compile it, and run it over your device. But definitely it is not for printing or printing a statement like hello world. It's related to device security. So for that, you can log into partner.samsungnox.com, register yourself, or even if you're not registered, all the details are available there, like APIs, document references, use cases, and all. So you can visit partner.samsungknox.com and get all the details. There is another question. Does KME support dual DAR for DO? So yes, it will. I will share the exact details over mail with everyone. I've noted down these two questions. How to deploy dual DAR for DO on S22? Deploy KME. And does KME support dual DAR for DO? So I will club these two questions and will share the details as soon as possible to every one of you. I think we are done. So Payal is writing another question.
Going once, going twice. All right. It seems like we're officially done. As per Payal, no more questions or that's typing in. So with that, just want to say, on behalf of all of our HQ, R&D centers, and R&D team members who are playing a key role in the technical support and strategic positions for KPP, the partners, thank you for making this event successful. We'll see you in the next KPP webinar. Thank you and goodbye. Have a nice day, everyone.
Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Sarah.
See you next time. Bye, Shivam. Bye,
Bye-bye.
and team. Donnie.